So throughout the years of animatronic history, there has always been many different kinds of designs for animatronics, such as not only just characters, but how the mechanics work. We've seen things ranging from hip swingers, things that just stand there and talk, things with movements of heads and torsos and arms, and sometimes even legs, and it's rather impressive. Now, the biggest thing I would like to talk about, honestly, would have to end up being the idea of the case study when involving which animatronic would be best. That would be including the animatronics such as pole-based animatronics that are buildable or collapsible animatronics. Today we are going to be discussing about these and talking about what exactly the type of animatronic is the best animatronic to be. What are the pros and what are the cons? So today we're going to be going on to the topic of 1. Collapsibles, pros and cons. 2. Buildables, pole-based, pros and cons. And there are pros and cons for both, and some way outweigh the others more so than others. So, I wanted to first talk about the animatronics that used to be collapsible. So, we still see animatronics that are collapsible, but not near as often as we did, let's say, back in early 2000s. Animatronics today are a lot different. And they are definitely something that I think can be debated on, especially when it comes to the things like the pole base and the collapsible animatronics. So we mainly saw these made from Gemmy, and the biggest ones that we can always take into consideration are ones like Count Vigor, Edwardian Butler, the Heads Up Harry, which by the way was not Gemmy, I am aware, and the pirate dancing skeletons, the Frankenstein, etc. Now, today we see not many collapsibles, but rather pole-based, and the biggest one known name collapsible that we see nowadays is the Pan Asian Creations Dancing Santa. Now, the Santa from Pan Asian Creations a lot of people did not like, and a lot of people did. That one was split off into 2 separate directions, and in my opinion, I really enjoyed the idea of it being collapsible. Mainly just because the idea of collapsibles are easy to be able to set up. It's more easier than pole base. Now, this leads into the pros. The biggest thing about collapsibles is 1, they allow for easy access and easy setup, meaning that even a toddler could even figure it out if they wanted to. The biggest thing is that mainly most of these collapsibles, all you had to do was just press on the shoulders and bring it up. Some you just pressed a button on the base, similar to Heads Up Harry and the Pan Asian Creations Dancing Santa, and then there were also ones that you just kind of pulled up and they would lock into position. Now, the biggest thing is that yes, they are very easy to set up. And I think the other major thing about these animatronics was the fact that they allowed for better design, in my opinion. They were already pre-built, and not only that, but it gave the companies an easier chance to be able to look over the animatronic and allow the animatronic to look as real as possible. You can take this into consideration when it came to like Count Vigor, Edwardian Butler, the witches, the dancing pirate skeleton, or the dancing Frankenstein. Mainly because they don't look flimsy, they don't look unreal, and they actually look like they have body parts. And why do I say that? Because the arms and the legs are thicker compared to pole base. And the biggest thing about this was that it helped, a lot of companies sell their animatronics, and honestly, it allowed them to be more sturdy and more, I guess you could say, a little more better when it came to the quality of the parts that were in there. Now, no animatronic is perfect, and I understand a lot of the animatronics that are collapsibles are now broken, but that's also because not many people know how to take care of animatronics. Now, I'm not saying the community doesn't, because that's why we are a community. But the biggest thing that I would say is that a lot of people who don't understand these animatronics that well don't take good care of them. But the biggest cons to these kind of came to this point. These animatronics had to be taken well good care of. They weren't easy to put outside, mainly because all of their circuitry and all of their parts were in the board. Their control systems were everything, and everything was in the board. And the main things in the bodies were just simply the mechanics that would allow the body to move and do whatever the computer chip inside the board would tell it to do. Like, let's take into consideration Heads Up Harry, Count Vigor. All of their circuitry is in the board. Along with that, these animatronics are also not storage friendly. I can say that personally because I have a life-size dancing skeleton, and he is hard to store. Same with the Pan Asian Creations model, which is very rough in my opinion to store such animatronics, and it doesn't allow for more to be purchased if you are a collector. Those are the main issues with mine. And I think the other big issue is that they were a little more fragile than the animatronics that we see today. Animatronics that are made today are the pole-based models. Now, this has been a heavy debate topic because a lot of people enjoyed the collapsibles. And with the pole-based models, we're going to start out with the pros. I want to talk about these pros because the pole-based animatronics are nice. And I think the biggest thing that people enjoy most about them is that they are more storage friendly. Yes, they are very storage friendly because the boxes are a lot smaller compared to the ones that are collapsible. A lot of the body pieces can be assembled and disassembled like a Lego set, which in my opinion allows for a lot easier storage and allows for them to be less breakable. The massive thing that I think a lot of people enjoy most about these animatronics is that it allows for the circuitry to go up into the animatronic, so that way you don't have to worry about grass. So let's say if it were to rain on Halloween night, you will not have to worry about the circuitry getting wet. And on top of that, it allowed for battery compartments, the one thing that collapsible animatronics did not have. These battery compartments are very handy, and while the animatronics that we do see today don't do as much, at least batteries, we can say, are starting to become a much major thing when it comes to animatronics. Now, the issue with that is that they become a little more pricier at the end of this, because batteries cost quite a bit. But on top of that, the animatronics may not, cost as much depending on what company you're buying them from. Now, these animatronics, however, are very flimsy. And in my opinion, these animatronics are not the best. Mainly just because they don't look as real. But I understand why pole-based models need to be made, because one, like I said, easier storage, and two, it allows for a better learning process in my opinion. The biggest thing is that with these animatronics, you can make a lot more kinds of designs. Along with that, there's a lot more freedom to be able to bring things out to the table. As so, like scarecrows, and let's take for example the creepy crawling kid from Tekky Toys this past year for 2021 that was sold at Party City. She was very well put together, and because of the fact that she was a pole-based, they had the ability to be able to make awesome things like this. But when you have animatronics that are already pre-built, it's kind of hard to make things like that. On top of that, it's kind of hard to honestly put things like that in a box. That's what's so great about the pole base. On top of that, they don't have massive boards, so you can make things look a lot more real. But what really comes to my disappointment when I see pole base is that they don't do as much. And I say that because when I see pole base models of animatronics, only one or two parts of their body move. And we could take this into consideration. The Jack Skellington animatronic, while he is absolutely amazing and I love him to death and I love the song that he sings, he is a pole-based model. He is a pole-based animatronic. We see that he can only move his mouth and one arm. And that is probably the major piece of the animatronic that would get placed together. Now, you can make animatronics that are pole-based, and that can also turn pretty much everything. And why I say this is because the new Santa that was sold at Home Depot this year, made by SVI, that was as well pole-based, had the ability to turn his torso and his head, which in my opinion was really cool. But also in my opinion, ever since the pole-based stuff started coming out, the quality of the animatronics started going down. Plastic molds started becoming more of a thing than latex, and a lot of communities loved the latex. But the plastic allowed for more budget, meaning more animatronics could be produced, meaning a lot more better designs. Not saying that the collapsible animatronics were not amazing. I absolutely love them. But notice how a lot of animatronics now are a lot more diverse in the types of monsters that we see. That's because I think that there is a budget reason. And at the end of the day, I think that's why companies go to pole base. But in my opinion, I thought the collapsibles offered a lot more large variety of animatronics that would last you for a lot longer than pole base. Not saying that these pole-based models aren't amazing, but I am saying that they are a lot less low quality than an actual collapsible. And comparing them to each other, there's no way you cannot see the difference. So I guess the real opinion comes down to the bottom of the comments section. What is your favorite version of animatronics? Do you like the pole base or do you like the collapsibles? I would like to know your all's opinions in the comments below, and let me know which one is your favorite. And whichever one is your favorite, tell me why. In my personal opinion, I prefer the collapsibles. Mainly just because the collapsibles gave a lot more wide range of creativity to the animatronic companies that would allow them to be able to make better animatronics that were a lot more top-notch quality. But again, this is just a simple case study when it comes to these animatronics, and I would like to know what you all think. So please hit that like and subscribe button. I really hope you all did enjoy this study case, and if you did, let me know. And without any further ado, I'm going to go ahead and get out of here. This is Jimmy Bones, signing off. I will talk to you guys in the next video. See ya.